Welcome back to the program. I'm Zev Brenner. Rabbi Edgar Gluck joins us. He's the chief rabbi of Galicia, but on September 11th, 2001, he was affiliated with the state police, with the other police agencies, and he's state coordinator for Hatzala, so very much involved in the rescue efforts in 9/11. So thank you for joining us. Let us reminisce. I know it was a dark day and a bleak day 11 years ago, and perhaps you can tell us exactly from your vantage point what transpired in your role in helping people.
Well, basically, I was in the middle of davening, and my Hatzala radio beep. They announced a complete mobilization, and then I'd gotten a call from Port Authority Police, and they had asked for assistance, everybody to attend, to go down immediately to the World Trade Center. When I heard the word a plane, I assumed it may have been like one of these hypercubs or something that just lost his way and banged into the building. And I had spoken to the engineers of the building several times because the governor's office, where Governor Carey was located there, and the state police head office for New York was located there, and I was working there. And basically, knowing the building, they had told me that a plane, anything can hit the building and it can collapse up to 2 floors without having any permanent damage.
So you were there, and what did you see on the ground?
And so by the time I got there so fast that I saw the second plane hitting the building.
Wow.
Basically, I saw it did not go into the building. It went towards the building, and it made a sharp right turn so that its gas tank should hit the building and explode. And what I found out later was that the building was completely protected from like a straight crash into it. It can go up and down. It was not protected, however, from heat. And the heat was what brought the building down. It melted the foundation, it meant the steel and the aluminum, whatever it was that was holding up the building. So we started assembling, and then I saw people running all around, not knowing where to go. So I ran into the building, and I saw that people were coming down from a high floor and walking into the building instead of walking out of the building because it was dark, and they used to go walking out of the elevator. They went, let's say, to the right, and over here, going out to the street, when they came down the steps, they were supposed to go to the left. So basically, they were walking back into the building again. So I stood there, and we had a few people organized, and the minute any people came down the staircases, we directed them to go out to the street. After that, while we were doing that, the building, which had originally had, I think, 106 stories, went down to 4 stories. I was there during the whole process, and all of a sudden, we literally couldn't see. Standing next to me was a fireman. He had a flashlight with a lot of batteries that basically could be seen for over 2 blocks. And all of a sudden, I turned around and I said to him, "Why'd you put your battery out? Why'd you put your flashlight out?" He said, "It's still on." I looked at it. It looked like the wick of a Hanukkah candle as it was going out.
Wow, it was so...
That's how dark it was. When you're talking about on Pesach, when we talk about the Choshech, I can now maybe imagine you literally were able to touch the
darkness.
At the last minute, I just said, "Everybody who's standing here, please, please hold on to me." So the first one was the fireman, and the person after that. And I said, "I know this building, just keep on going with me." And we walked. And after maneuvering out of the building, which we didn't know at the time, as maneuvering, we bumped into a fire engine. And we couldn't see.
Wow.
Everybody was saying, what's a fire engine doing inside the World Trade Center? Little did we know that we were already outside. But that's how dark it was that we couldn't even identified it. We were out of the building. The next thing I know, the Port Authority police grabs me. And one of the lieutenants says, Rabbi, what are you doing there? I said, trying to rescue people. So he pulled me into they had like a emergency command vehicle and started pouring water into my eyes. The next thing we know, we heard cracking and everything else, and that building that we were at was coming down. So
while it was pouring, the building where you came out of, right? Not where you were.
No, I was in. The building that I was in came down originally on the inside. And then when we went outside, there were Port Authority vehicles there. Then the second building started coming down, and they were afraid that would go right directly on where the Port Authority vehicles were parked. So everybody tried to move, and as far as I remember, I went to Vesey Street, and there was a city bus, which they used for transporting people back and forth to New Jersey, for was it Red and Tan, or I don't remember the exact name of the buses that they have. It goes on, they go up to like 34th Street or something, take people downtown Manhattan, midtown Manhattan. It's a complete bus company. I ripped open the door and I had someone behind me who never just passed away. It's Sammy Erez, may he rest in peace. And he was guiding me, and he got on the Hatzala radio, and then someone else got on with a name that nobody in Hatzala recognized. Absolutely nobody recognized that name. Like Fischl from Flatbush or something. It was a name that was not no member name, no nothing. And for say so, my hat and my radio and everything else got lost in the building. So a person was giving me direct orders where I was, and I may have a shot at it. Could have been Menashemayim, because nobody from Hatzala remembers who the name is or who that was.
Well, what is it?
Sammy Erez came, found me trying to break into the bus, guided me, and as you know, the strength of a person when he's in such a massive, just ripped open the door of the bus. I went in, and then he said on the radio, the rabbi's in a bus, which in Hatzala language means an ambulance. So everybody said, good. No, I said, it's a bus, not a city bus. A city bus, not a Hatzala bus. They started making a search for me, and one of the Williamsburg ambulances found me. They transported me straight to Maimonides Hospital. I was in the emergency room, and I asked the nurse, "Can you please tell me where the director of ophthalmology is?" So she says, "I can't call him." I said, "Forget about it." I called him. He said, "I cannot go down to the hospital because I'm in my office. I have all the equipment. I'm much better off coming to me to use the equipment in my office than me running down to an emergency room where they're not equipped for these type of things." I ran over to his office, and he started washing out my eyes, and he gave me drops. He told me to take it easy, and my taking it easy was good for 2 minutes when I got a call from the Port Authority. "Can you please come out to Newark Airport Law Center?" It's a very large building, and set us up an 800 exchange so we can transmit to all our people to let them know that who was killed and who was missing, and civilians, and of course.
Was anybody from Hatzala hurt or injured during the rescue operation?
You're asking a very good question. That's the exact question that Chief McInerney, who was the head of emergency services for the fire department, in charge of all their ambulances for the city, asked us. And we told them there was nobody that was overnight in the hospital. But he said, "But how many fatalities?" We said, "None." And he points up to the ceiling, and he says,
"God's watching you.
Watching over you." These were his words. This is a full commissioner in charge of all the ambulances in the city of New York. He says, "God was watching over you."
About how many Hatzala volunteers do you know were out there on 9/11 helping people?
approximately 325.
325, very impressive number.
Very impressive number.
Very
And
impressive.
the ambulance from the Lower East Side was the first ambulance on the scene. They were there within seconds.
Thank God we have Hatzala that helps out not just the members of the community, but such you see at 9/11, helped everybody out, and the first on the scene, and over 325 volunteers that were out there helping when help was needed the most, right at the beginning of the tragedy. So it's kudos to you and Hatzala for doing really such important work that really helpful to everybody, saved lives literally on 9/11.
And Mamish making a Kiddush Hashem like it was like didn't exist before. Because
Absolutely.
a fire commissioner should say, God was watching over you. Such a Kiddush Hashem is very hard to find.
Rabbi Edgar Gluck, I want to thank you for what you and the volunteers of Hatzala did. You are a co-founder of Hatzala over 45 years ago, so thank God Hatzala was on the scene at 9/11, and as it is every day throughout the year in the communities where Hatzala is based. So thank you for sharing us some reminiscences of your involvement in helping people out on 9/11. May God give you the strength to continue to do the work that you're doing now. You're Chief Rabbi of Galicia for many more years to come.
Yes, Hashem. You and all your listeners shall have a Shana Tova Masuka.
Amen. Same to you. Good Gesundheit York. Thank you for being with us.
You're welcome.
And we're going to be right back. Don't go away. Stay tuned.